So Ozan briefly introduced you, but I'm going to introduce you before we have a chat.
Okay.
So we have here with us Ali Sabanci, who is the chairman of Pegasus Airlines, which is the very first local Turkish airlines, the local one of the
Low cost.
Ryanair, Turkish version of Ryanair. Is that right?
It's a slight photocopy, aiming to be, aspiring to be.
Okay. Well, maybe Ryanair is aspiring to be like you. And he's also the president of the Young Entrepreneurs Council, and I know that we heard from the president of TOB this morning, but he's also very involved in the startup entrepreneurial ecosystem. He is an active angel investor and is one of the founders of the angel groups here in Turkey. And so let's just dive right into it.
Okay.
Ali Bey.
Can I say a few words?
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
Where's Aslı? Where's Burak? He's smoking? Okay, can we have a round of applause for Aslı? She's actually the brain behind Burak.
All women are.
I'm not going to say the looks behind Burak because you've seen Burak. Has anybody found, how many people actually don't speak Turkish? Turkish. Is it confused? Siz Türkçe konuşuyor musunuz? You don't speak Turkish, so you're fine with this English. Okay. You know, I think I met you guys, I met Aslı and Burak about 5-6 years ago. I attended an event of theirs in Antalya. I swear to God, I think there were 20 or 30 people in the room, you know? And today, I found out there's close to 2,000 people here. And I'm not talking about 1995. I think I'm talking about 2011 or 12.
Yeah, I think
not
that's
so
right.
far ago. And I think what's interesting is almost half of them come from outside Turkey.
Yeah.
Okay? At a time when many people are saying, don't go to Turkey, there's almost half of the people here from outside Turkey. I think this is a success. The 2,000 number is very exciting. You know, the overall touch number, 4,000, exciting, but almost half being from outside Turkey, I think is also very exciting. Why am I meddling on this for so long? It's because a little over 2 months ago, we had a coup attempt here. You know? I don't know, have you guys heard about that? Okay, and literally a little over 2 months ago, and I think this is why it makes this place very exciting. Not because we had a coup attempt, but because we were able to recover so quickly, morally, you know. Why is this place exciting? There's about 80 million people here in this country. Almost half are young. And we actually did a coup against the coup attempters. Right? So democracy prevailed. So I think one of the major things that we have to think about for entrepreneurs and for investors is how much has this environment digested democracy? Benimsedi yani, digested. And I think we showed the world. Benimsemekle, sindirmek. Okay? Bu arada simultane translate için para vermemişler. Ben bunu burada aynı zamanda yapıyorum. Dolayısıyla I think it's very important to understand that this place has very much digested democracy. At the 11th hour on a Friday evening, you know, when it's least expected, you know. So this is why there's about 100 investors here. Again, 3/4 are from outside Turkey. This is very exciting. Now, Elmira, how many people don't know me? How many people would like to know me better? Not physically, like, okay, we won't talk about that. You know, since July 15th, this coup attempt, we had the opportunity to go outside Turkey to explain to non-Turks what was going on here. I had a chance to go to, I think, Copenhagen. Copenhagen or Copenhagen? Copenhagen.
Copenhagen.
Copenhagen, auf Deutsch. So there, I just had to tell my counterparts, what's happened to me here in the last 10 years, okay? 10 years ago, a little over 10 years ago, we started an airline. We took it public. We're whole with our investment, which means we've taken all our investment back through the IPO, right? And we still own 2/3 of the business, okay? Little under 10 years ago, we invested in a food business. We sold about 4 months ago, 6 times our money in US terms, okay? We invested in a retail business. It's a movie chain business. Who the hell goes to the movies when everything's on the internet?
Everybody loves the movies.
We sold this business in little over 4 years, 5 times our money in euro terms. And who bought it? A strategic investor from Singapore bought it, excuse me, Korea bought it. So I said to my counterparts in Copenhagen, if you want to experience what we're experiencing, this is what's happened to me. Okay, I may be the most brilliant guy in the country. Probably not. If you want to experience this, come to Turkey. So I applaud you for coming, and I want you to do one thing for me. When you go back to wherever you're from, tell about what your experience is here, not about what you do at night. You can also share that if you want. But what you experience here in terms of the entrepreneurial spirit. So thank you for talking. I'll get a logo.
Oh, is this where we get to dance?
Are we done?
No, we have
all
a
right.
song and dance duo.
Okay, all right. I'm done.
No, you're not done. Because
You want me to
wanna
talk further?
Well, I want to pick up on this point that you talked about, because I think not only has democracy flourished here in Turkey, but I think we saw, I think we've seen over the past several years, I think not just on July 15th, but I think over the past decade, I think Turks really coming into their own, really kind of standing up and, you know, seizing their ideas and moving forward with it. I mean, you just talked about, you know, Esaslı and Burak, where they had started Startup Turkey in Antalya with just 20 people, and now it's grown to, you know, we're in this auditorium with thousands of people. What do you attribute that to? I mean, what is it that, I mean, I think everybody's always trying to replicate the Silicon Valley success story, but there is something happening here, and it's exciting.
Well, I mean, I might need some simultaneous translation here because I'm not quite sure how to say it in English. But during the time when Esaslı and Burak started, or at about the same time when we started, and many other angel networks began to think about what they wanted to do, that was a time of business people creating value, realizing value, and making money by çakıp çıkmak. I don't know how to say this in English.
Oh, my mother didn't teach me that.
Okay, yani çakan çıkan, you know, işe çakan çıkan. Ben anlamıyorum nereye gidiyor bu düşünceler. It means like, you know, create a bubble, sell it, and realize value. So the name of, or the image of the entrepreneur, let alone how to spell it in English, the entrepreneur was not very high on people's, let's say, scale of respectability, right? You know, there was also a big mix-up, and I think to some extent there still continues to be, being someone who's girişimci, an entrepreneur, and someone who's girişken, which is an outgoing person.
Like me.
Well, okay.
Okay.
I don't. I mean, the word is still out. So it's, you know, whether, you know, even today, as I was walking in, I've had several young people offering me their ideas. You know, we started at a time, and I'm sure Esaslı and Burak confirm, that people had a lot of ideas. Everybody has a lot of ideas. Tomorrow we're going to Trabzon. 6 in the morning we're taking a flight and come back at night to talk to potential entrepreneurs in Trabzon, okay? And we're bringing with us an entrepreneur from Trabzon, Nevzat Aydın. I don't know if you guys know this guy. Have you heard of this guy? Yemeksepeti.com, you know, thefoodbasket.com. So he's somebody from Trabzon, just like one of them.
Yeah.
There are no excuses, right? If he can make it, I swear to God, everybody can make it, right? So the aim is that we've understood that entrepreneurship is an alternative. okay? And we've been very, very lucky in one aspect, is that we've had the same government in office during this time, okay? Because historically, what happens in our country, maybe in many countries, is when one government comes in, they usually want to erase everything the previous government wants to do, has tried to do, whether they were right or wrong, right? So we've had actually a counterpart in the government. You know, we've had, I think 2 or 3 years ago, we started talking about funds of funds. Now we have a regulation for funds of funds, okay? We started talking about individual accredited investor. We talked about how they should have reduction in income tax if they're investing in certain kind of companies in a certain way. It's now in place, you know. We have today TEB Bank who's helping us with some of the funding, if I'm not mistaken, right? Okay, well, I saw him, so he must be helping us. What is it saying? We have several banks who are actually running after entrepreneurs, right? What is changing now in our country is that even conventional and usually distant sources of financing, like a traditional bank, is part of the game.
Yeah.
They want their name to appear next to this angel network, this seminar, summit, you know, and mobile companies want to do that because they realize this is part of adding value, and they want their face and their brand next to it, supporting the people financially. So in the last 10 years, we've been very lucky. We've had the opportunity to see what's going on, not only in the US. I mean, Silicon Valley is you know, it started more than 20 years before you and I were born. We looked at the New Zealand, 40 years before you were born. And my God, you're very much like me. You know? So you're an entrepreneur. And we also looked at the Israeli example and how NASDAQ became a funding platform for Israel and in less than one generation. So we can actually talk to youngsters and say, you're 25 now, when you're 47, you can actually do it. Not when your grandchildren are 47, when you're 47. So from this, I think the fire started going. And no matter what has happened to us in this country, politically, you know, socially, coup attempt, devaluation of currency, instability in the region, this place is still the center of this part of the world's stability. So this is the right place to be.
Well, I mean, geographically, I mean, Turkey borders on Europe and Asia and North Africa and the Caucasus. I mean, I think just geographically, it's such an attractive place to be. And I mean, and who could not be in love? Who couldn't not be in love with Istanbul?
That's right.
But since we have a few minutes left, what does Turkey still need to do to fulfill its startup ecosystem?
I think, you know, one of the issues with an entrepreneurial ecosystem is that it should never stop evolving, right? Just like if you had an entrepreneur who said, or who says, I made it, it's game over for them, you know. They used to be an entrepreneur, right? So in this, where we are today, we have to make sure that nobody thinks entrepreneurship is about chucking and chicken. Çakıp çıkma. A shortcut way of making money. A dishonorable way of making money. I was talking to a young woman about an hour, about 15 minutes ago, interviewing. I cannot quite remember what the platform was. And I said to her, that can you imagine there are only 396 accredited individual investors in Turkey. I know at least 50, right? Almost none of them are accredited. Because in Turkey, the psychology or the culture is usually, you make it, but you keep it quiet.
Right.
Right? But this time, for the country to develop, you have to make it and share with the rest of the people how you actually made it. You know, you funded this woman who's 22 years old. And through your financing, let's say she gave you a quarter of the business, she made several billion and you made as well, million, okay? Did you do her injustice? No, she made it with your money. Could your money have made this money in a bank? In a certificate of deposit, CDs? No. So this should be, psychologically, we have to be more open to the entrepreneurial spirit. But I tell you, if you look at the definition of what entrepreneurship is, I think I've come up with something, if it makes sense. it has more albany. Albany'nin İngilizcesi ne? It's more marketable. Albany. You know this one, Albany?
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay. Take me. I don't know. Entrepreneurship is about influence and improvement. Okay? If you can only influence consumption habits, people will consume.
Right.
They will not be forced into it.
Right.
And you can only influence them if you can improve the utility they get from that activity versus what they're doing now.
Right.
So if you look at it this way, money comes, you make money afterwards.
That sounds good.
I think this is more Albany'li, marketable.
Yeah. Mark yourself. Get out there and enjoy that. But so on that note,
Thank you.
I think our time is up. Is our time up? Yes?
I have.
Yes. Okay, Burak. There's Burak.
Burak was smoking outside.
He's right
My
there.
God, you gotten taller, man. Oh, you're on the first step. Okay, all right. So we were thanking you.
That's why I come here.
Okay, you came for the thanking. All right.
Well, I would love to thank you. Thank you so much for being.
Thank you for having me.
For sharing the stage and all you've got great energy. Let's give a round of applause to Mr. Adi Sabanci.
Thank you very much, and let's do a better job next year. Burak, we'll do even a better job next year.
Yes, that's right. With all together.
Okay, let's do that. Thank you very much for coming. There are cocktails here at 6 p.m., free of charge. That's what they told me. Enjoy. Thank you. Elmira Hanım, thank you.
Thank
Take
you.
care.